decision marks a significant step towards restoring the leadership structure of the electoral body, which has been without a substantive chair since the death of former IEBC head Wafula Chebukati in February this year. The confirmation follows a directive by the National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula, who recently instructed the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee to resume vetting the nominees. This process had initially been suspended due to a court order that halted the publication of the nominees' names in the Kenya Gazette and their subsequent swearing in. Erastus Ethekon was nominated by President William Ruto on the 8th of May to take over from Chebukati. His nomination came amidst legal and political challenges, but was ultimately allowed to proceed following a court ruling lifting the temporary injunction.
Which is that taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs in its report on the vetting of nominees for appointment as chairperson and members of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 3rd June 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 252B of the Constitution, approves the appointment of the following persons to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC. 1. Erastus Edung Ethekon, chairperson. 2. Ann Nderitu Njeri, member. 3. Moses Alutalala Muhwana, member. 4. Mary Karen Sorobit, member. 5. Hassan Nur Hassan, member. 6. Francis Odhiambo Aduol, member. 7. Fahima Arafat Abdallah, member. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
The panel mandate is clearly spelled out, Mr. Speaker. We have the Public Appointment Act. We have the vetting. The entire process. They have gone through. They have been subjected to public participation. The public have also had the right to say what they wanted to say. And ultimately, the concerned committee made a decision that these 7 individuals were eligible to be approved by this House. But Mr. Speaker, we must speak as Kenyans. We have politicized literally everything, Mr. Speaker, in this country. Isn't it the high time that we think out of the box and be prepared to contribute to the continued peace, stability, respect, and tranquility, Mr. Speaker, so that as a country, we are respected, we respect ourselves, we are respected regionally, we are respected continentally, and we are respected globally, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, if you read through the CV of this gentleman, a master's in law from the University of Derby in the UK, a postgraduate, a bachelor's from the University of Nairobi in law. This is someone who qualifies to be a judge of the High Court or even the Supreme Court, Honorable Speaker, and that is all that is required in law.
Well, it's rather obvious. If you look at today's standard, which we'll be doing later on, it clearly puts out the relations between the commissioners, including the chair, with sitting members of parliament or the leadership of the country. So question is, are they going to be professional in the way they do their things, or are they going to answer to their, what you can call their masters, so to speak? Now, in a dramatic courtroom incident, a gentleman called Abel Ochieng, a key suspect in the murder of Kasipul Member of Parliament Ondowere, threatened to kill the prosecutor handling the case. The threat was made during bail proceedings, leading to a shock that forced the State Council to leave the court unexpectedly. Ochieng, also known as Dave Carlo, issued the death threat after the prosecutor opposed his release on bail. A police officer who testified in the court revealed that Ochieng grabbed his hand and aggressively demanded to know the identity of the prosecutor. At that moment, the accused was overheard saying, "Huyu ni nani? Tutamuua. Who is this? We're going to kill him." Following the threat, Justice Diana Kaveda denied bail to all 3 accused persons involved in the murder case. The judge also ordered that the suspects undergo mental health assessments due to the severity of the threat Abel Ochieng was ordered to be held in isolation at the Nairobi Remand Prison, pending investigations.
Melody, the information is threats towards a council. In this case, Mr. Mulama. The information Melody we received is that as he was proceeding to oppose, one of the suspects in the dock raised an issue of who is this person, and we will deal with him. Melody, the threat was very specific.
Okay, I am recording this person and we shall deal with him.
Yes. The threat was very specific, and we have a police officer to actually articulate.
I want you to say his words, exact words. What did the suspect say?
Huyo ni nani huyo mwenye hataki tuachiliwe?
Huyo ni nani mwenye hataki tuachiliwe? Yes.
So tulimweleza kwamba yeye ni prosecutor.
Yes.
Then he said huyo tutamuua.
Can you show me the person who uttered those words?
I heard those words myself personally.
Yes.
The gentleman in the white shirt.
Stand up. That one?
Yes.
Then you notify. Who did you notify?
I notified my OCS.
Oh, okay.
Then she informed the head of the ministry.
Okay. I therefore believe that the third accused indeed uttered the words "huyu tutamuua." It is quite frightening. It is unfortunate, and I am bereft of words. It is on that ground alone that the three of you will be denied bail at this juncture. For direct that the three of you will be escorted to Nairobi remand, where you will be remanded until medical assessment report is availed.
For sure, that's hiyo ni moto ya kuotea mbali. I mean, you're in court and already threatening the prosecutor. So it doesn't really do any justice to his case, because as it is, the court is already going to assume the character of this individual, know that he's a threat to society and to court officials. And you can be very sure, unless he gets an extremely good lawyer, he's going to go to the slumbers, for sure. He's going to take the fall for that murder. Now, the Kiambu County government has taken swift disciplinary action by firing several healthcare workers at the Igegania Level 4 hospital following the tragic death of the 11-year-old boy who was denied timely medical treatment last week. Dr. Elias Minor, the County Executive Committee member for Health Services, revealed that an internal investigation found gross negligence by hospital staff. The probe confirmed that 4 doctors, a nurse, and a clinical officer failed to respond to multiple urgent calls for help after the boy was brought to the facility. This inaction tragically resulted in the young boy's death, prompting the county government to immediately terminate the employment of the implicated healthcare workers.
All those who are involved, either they managed or treated the patient, and those who were not available to treat the patient, we have identified 4 doctors, and we have taken them through the disciplinary process, and the process has been concluded and they have been summarily dismissed.
Hakuna mtu amekuja hapa kuniambia ati anafanya kazi Igegania, hata ni board ama ni nani, hakuna hata mmoja. Kwa sababu nilikuwa naomba hata nipewe mtungi moja mobile. Nilikuwa nimepewa magari matatu na watu wazuri, kuomba nipewe mtungi wa hiyo hewa, tuweke hiyo mtungi na tuweke mtoto wangu tumpeleke hospitali.
You know, from a legal perspective, what has just happened by the hospital taking the move is that they've opened themselves for litigation. Because what will happen now, the parents can take action. They will sue the hospital for negligence, because and seek compensation for that. And then the nurses involved also will be sued over them. And so it's unfortunate the child died, but the hospital has just opened itself to serious litigation issues, and that will be coming. Now, the Civil Society Coalition of Kwa Uchumi is sounding the alarm over the proposed 3.3 trillion shillings national budget, accusing the government of favoring the elite while sidelining ordinary Kenyans. Speaking during a press conference in Nairobi, Kwa Uchumi faulted the Finance Bill 2025, saying that they called the gross misallocation of public resources. The group highlighted massive budget cuts to education and healthcare, key sectors that directly impact millions of Kenyans. The coalition also criticized the reduction of import levies on steel and other industrial products, arguing that it disappropriately benefits big businesses and foreign investors, leaving local communities behind. Even more concerned, Okoa Uchumi warned against the proposal to allow the Kenya Revenue Authority access to citizens' personal data, calling it a threat to privacy and democracy.
This year's finance bill includes several proposals that seemingly favor elite and politically connected interests under the guise of economic growth. In a country where the burden of taxation already disproportionately affects low and middle income citizens, these proposals represent a dangerous shift in fiscal fairness. Tax rates must be equitable and transparent, not tailored to the privileged few.
The budget proposes a 4.3 billion shillings cut to the allocation for free primary education from its most recent approved figure, impacting the essential programs within basic education, such as the school feeding program.
Continued expansion of the executive contradicts the president's promise to Gen Z. Supplementary budgets are being misused to undermine the voice of citizens in the budget process. In Supplementary 2 of the financial year 2024-2025, funding for social safety nets is facing a budget cut as resources are redirected to high-level offices such as the Office of the President, Deputy President, Prime Cabinet Secretary.
On other health-related subjects, Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale has announced the removal of attachment fees for Kenya Medical Training College students undergoing clinical placements in public hospitals, with a particular emphasis on Level 6 medical facilities. The announcement was made during the official opening of the 8th biennial KMTC Scientific Conference held at the institution's headquarters in Nairobi. Speaking at the event, Cabinet Secretary Duale Aden emphasized that the public hospitals should not impose any charges on students during their clinical attachments. He noted that these students are there to gain practical experience and support the healthcare system and should not be burdened financially during their training period. In addition to scrapping attachment fees, Duale called for a comprehensive and rigorous review of the KMTC curriculum to keep pace with the evolving healthcare demands. He stressed the importance of enforcing strict admission criteria and closely monitoring clinical rotations in all medical training institutions to maintain high standards of education and training.
I have told the DGA and the SA, when we go back, we will communicate to them. They will stop that. And before this evening, we are meeting the Council of Governors with the President. I'll whisper the President to pass the message to the governors.
That's a great move. I agree with CS Health Aid and Duale. That's a great move. Remove those fees. Stop torturing parents to pay fees for attachment, yet these students will later on come to your institutions. Now, the High Court in Bomet has officially confirmed the impeachment of Nyamira County Assembly Speaker Enoch Okero, declaring all actions taken by him after his removal as unlawful. In a detailed 57-page judgment delivered by Justice Julius Ngangar, the court ruled that Okero ceased to hold office upon his impeachment and that any attempt to remain in the position lacked legal authority. Justice Ngangar further affirmed the election of Thaddeus Nyabaro as the lawful Speaker of the Nyamira County Assembly. The only pending administrative issue, the court noted, is the formal gazettement of Nyavaro's appointment to the position. Additionally, the court recognized Duke Onyari as the substantive clerk of the Nyamira County Assembly. The judgment directed that the county's fiscal strategy paper be submitted to Onyari for processing in line with the legally mandated budget-making procedures.
The courts have agreed that where we are now, this is the right assembly, and that what has been always been done by the other faction, who are our brothers and sisters from October last year, all those transactions are null and void.
Hivyo kwa siku ya leo tunawakaribisha wale wote ambao walitoroka nyumba yao wakaenda kufanya vikao nje, tumewakaribisha waje hapa tufanyie watu wa Nyamira kazi.
Leo niko na raha mpaka nasema kumbe hata mnyonge ana haki. Sikuwa natarajia. I kindly request the all arms of county government of Nyamira to accept each other for us to move on and serve the people of the county that we belong to.
All right. Now, still matters court. The Milimani Magistrate Court has dismissed allegations by Mumia's East Member of Parliament, Peter Salasia, that he was subjected to torture while in police custody. Principal Magistrate Peter Mutai, who presided over the case, ruled that the court lacks jurisdiction to release exhibits related to the claims, emphasizing that due process must be followed. Salasia, who's facing charges of hate speech dating back to the 19th of May 2025, was granted release on a cash bail of 200,000. The court has scheduled the next stage of the case for a pre-trial hearing set for the 16th of June.
The courts,
this court lack jurisdiction, the direct release of exhibits until it is formally produced. The accused, however, have a right to protection by state and should be accorded security within the established protocols.
And finally, to matters politics, before we look at some of the happenings in the newspapers, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has intensified his political comeback campaign by promoting his newly formed party, the Democracy for Citizens Party, during a public address in Dagoretti. Speaking to an enthusiastic crowd, Gachagua criticized the current administration, accusing it of mismanaging the economy and failing to protect the dignity of workers. The former DP pointed out that key sectors in the country, including education and healthcare, are struggling under poor governance. His comments appeared aimed at positioning DCP as the people-centered alternative ahead of the next general election.
Dagoretti nimekuja kusikiza ground. Si ndio? Dagoretti munasemaje? Dagoretti munasemaje? Dagoretti mnasemaje? Dagoretti ni one term. Ni one term. Ni one term. Harambee! Harambee! Wewe Ruto, mimi nataka niseme namna hii. Ndio hii Kenya irudi kwa laini. Lazima tufukuze huyu jamaa. Yeye amefanya payslip imekosa dignity. Sisi tuko na jukumu kama wa Kenya kurudisha heshima ya payslip. Watoto wetu hawasomi. Hospitali hakuna dawa. Ndio hii maneno yote iwezekane, lazima ajenda ya kwanza ni Kasongo afanye nini?
Nataka kusema serikali ya Gavana Sakaja kazi yake ni kunyanyasa wanabiashara, na tunataka kusema Sakaja na Kasongo wamepomorea wa Nairobi manyumba kwa maji, na tunataka kutangaza leo hapa Dagoretti, watu wetu wale wanafukuzwa mita 60 kwa mto. Tunasema hiyo barabara hatuendi, na tunataka kuambia Gavana Sakaja na William Ruto, upomoaji wa manyumba Nairobi tumesema haitaendelea. Na tunataka kuambia Sakaja, kwa sababu ameweka orodha ya mashamba Nairobi, ile mashamba haitalipa rate, anataka kupiga mashamba yetu auction. Tumemwambia udhubutu kuuza shamba ya Nairobi.
All right, let's take a look at what is happening in the dailies. And we're going to start off by looking at the Star newspaper, where budgets, concerning the budget, judges, MPs, and roads are the big winners. MPs are getting an extra 48 billion, roads 199 billion, farmers 8 billion fertilizer subsidy. Why? I hope we don't get ile mchanga ililetwa allegedly last time. Judiciary 27.7 billion, judges 700 million. This 700 million is basically pay rise. And the guys who are going to lose is unemployed teachers with 7.3 billion shillings deducted. Health has 70 billion, NIS recruitment 1 billion, government printer 200 million. And then recycler turning plastic waste to gold in Garissa. This is so good. At least this is a gentleman who saw an opportunity in trash and is now smiling all the way to the bank. And then you remember a chick that was arrested for, creating an app where ordinary mwananchi can basically log into Parliament and give their views on the Finance Bill 2025. Well, in the Star newspaper, she's given her ordeal, how she was arrested, what happened, how, some of those cops came to her. It feels almost like a James Bond movie, gang, gang, gang. Yeah, that's the kind of thing it feels like. And then budget, the MP's budget races to 50 billion mark as MDAs sustain cuts. Read this story, I'm a budget. It's pretty intensive and important. Looming trouble in Ruto's UDA as cracks open. Then we have senators probe fraud targeting retirees' pension. And then the back page is sports, Rome next in line. Chebet Sege set for fiery 500-meter duel. So Manyala Chariot target glory in Rome. And then the standard Godfathers have it. Now, if you look at what the standard has, the picture is you have the pictures of the commissioners and who they are connected to. Like there's a gentleman here whose name is Hassan Noor. He's a former PC. He's the brother-in-law to Junet Mohammed. And is obviously a link to Raila Odinga. Then you have the chair of the commission, Erastat Echekon, he's an ex-Turkana County lawyer or attorney. He's connected to the president and is also connected to the former Turkana governor, Josphat Nanok, who is currently the deputy chief staff at State House. Then you have Francis Odhiambo Duol. Francis Odhiambo Duol, this is the guy who probably doesn't have a connection, at least one that is known as of now. Then you have Mary Karen Sobit, who is a lawyer. She's in UDA, so she's connected to the United Democratic Alliance. And then you have who? Ann Derito, Registrar of Political Parties. Now, the line is drawn directly to the president. Read that newspaper, utafurahi. Governor Orenga to finally lead the delegation to State House, from Siaya to State House today. Conversations are definitely going to be ongoing. And then Kemri confirms 25 cases of killer outbreak and cautions residents. It looks like chikungunya. There's an outbreak of chikungunya, and 25 people have so far died at the coast. And the United Nations is now being told to probe police torture in the EAC, mostly TZ, okay, TZ and K. Yes, in the East African region. You start naming countries and you remember other things that have happened. Godfathers have gotten their way. Forget maneno, tax proposal in 4.2 trillion budget seen to cut household spending. And then Atuoli says workers feel abandoned amid the workplace changes. Oh, by the way, I'd say that 3.3, that was last year's. This time the budget is at 4.2 trillion. Then we have Kenya Kwanza accused of playing tokenism politics. Gachagua imposing himself on region. This is the MP Mwagi Kiujuri. Then we have, there's a suit that is going on. This is a very interesting thing because CBK has decided that it's going to back Okiya Omtata in a suit. He has gone to try and see whether he can get the debts, the national debt basically brought and investigated so that the country doesn't have to pay for debts that were taken and not used for what they were taken for. There are quite a number of debts. This is a suit that started during President Uhuru's term. And then Okiya says, by the way, that he got to a place and he realized legally the direction they were going, they were not going to achieve what they wanted to achieve. And so he pulled it and just recently reintroduced it. And by reintroducing it, Central Bank, which is very interesting, Central Bank has come in and backed his petition. So this should be interesting, as I hope we get to see who took what loan and what was used, what was not used, and by who. because we've had that. I think there was from the first president, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, then we had the late President Moi, then we had President Kibaki, and then we had President Uhuru Kenyatta. And then we'll also have, after his term is done, William Samoei Ruto. Police brutality scars still hurt, says Baby Pendo murder report. Then the back page of the Standard, we have why Spain wants to keep on smiling. Okay. Now they have a picture of a beautiful chick there from Spain with there's a smile on her face, and then there's a young boy there who's looking at her, yet with another smile on the face. But I'm very sure the smile they're talking about is about football. MP punch 6 billion hole in school budget. Wine Barire is on the warpath, rattling UDA. MPs have reduced 6 billion shillings from the education budget. Now, I was taught a long time ago that if you want to know, if you take the budget, the spendings of an individual's and the allocation, their budget basically, and you look at it, you'll get to know what they value most, all right? If you reduce the budget on education, what are you trying to say? Education is not important? And then the members of parliament who reduced the budget on education increased the budget, their budget. Hiyo ndio maneno hapa. Even after losing my whole family, God will still heal me. Wow. This is a lady called Joyce who is hospitalized in India. She lost her husband and all 3 children in separate tragedies. What? And then this is something, a story that is becoming so common in Kenya. I mean, people have become so heartless. Somebody went to a different country, Saudi Arabia. She went, worked, and she was sending money home to her loved one, I think it's a mother, to have some things done for her. Oh, mama ni kingangi. Alikula yote. When the lady came back from Saudi Arabia, she discovered the mother had kula kila kitu. Esh. They had these are 2 cases. The Kenyan, and these are relative, eh? These are relative. It's so selfish, it's unbelievable. Somebody has gone to a foreign country, they're working, trying to better their lives. And because they trust you, they tell you, mom, na kutumia do, niwekee kwa account. Here, the mother yuko huko nje anapepea tu. Hey. I can imagine. Actually, I can't imagine. We, hiyo unaweza chapa mtu mpaka umuume. MPs raid school capitation to fund exams. Then austerity for who? Endless makeovers at the deputy president's residence. The Daily Nation is highlighting as the government is calling people to tighten their belts and implement austerity measures. Over 660 million. There's money that is being used to renovate buildings. And not that these buildings are horrible. It's just that wanaweza. MP Mbarire and the deputy president meet as tensions boil over. I don't know whether you saw the picture of these two. Oh, the body language speaks volumes. You can write a novel with around 600 pages. Mbarire, the way she's holding her hands, telling you that I don't feel this guy. It looks like they were called to State House and the Riot Act read, and they were told, go and take a picture right now. But Mbarire was still seemingly, if you look at her body, she is protesting. And then finally, this is so nice. Moi family has agreed to share properties. I mean, this is the wisest thing they've ever done. This is the wisest thing they've done. One of Moi's grandson had gone to court seeking a share of a estate that was not listed in the will. So they've all come together and agreed that they are going to share the property. That is so nice. But lampigane hapa. It's the lawyers who are enjoying your father's estate. Munakubaliana tu hivyo. Shabana take a shot at title chasing police. Kenya's top striker Olunga could well remain in Qatar. CAF Techno sign AFCON deal. Na hapo ndio mangaseti inaisia. Now, what are some of the things that, you see in this country and you think, this one needs to be done, this one needs to be addressed? I know the first thing everybody's going to say is corruption. And it's true. Corruption is a cancer in this country. I mean, everywhere you turn, corruption just messes you up. I know of investors from Ghana who wanted to come and invest something here. Hey, ogopa wa Kenya. They came, they were buying maize. They brought them in lorries, helped and organized by a Kenyan, and they were selling this meal to some millers. And this guy agreed, the Kenyan. Hey, si amewasumbua jameni. Alienda akauza mahindi sijui wapi, na ampotea na do. Wakimtafuta anawaambia simuende kwa polisi. Because according to him, there's nothing they can do. Then these guys had also engaged a children's home and created what you can call like a revolving fund for small businesses within that area. The person who was given the responsibility and given money to take care of the children in that children's home, kula pesa yote. He does not account for them. So corruption is a major thing that you and I need to pray for. But at the same time, we need to pray for our families. Because all these things that are happening are as a result of bad parenting. Hii story ya kabebi, kama mi, kabebi na kama mi, atafundishwa na dunia, kababe na kama mi, ni kitu usie. What do they say, Alan? Asiyefunzwa na mama yake, anafunzwa na ulimwengu. Na ulimwengu is so unforgiving. The other day I was seeing a video, I don't know where it was, it's a video at night of two thugs. They had attempted to steal something and then watu wa boda boda wakawaangukia. There is a gentleman amebeba mawe kama hii, anainulia hapa, anagonga mtu nayo, na anatime kichwa, mpaka you can see him akiweka kichwa ya mwizi ata place ati strategically place ndio igonge na mawe. Mpaka unaanza kushangaa, what is happening here? This guy is so lost in his anger that a 9x9 ameshika hivi, anaweka tumia miguu kuweka kichwa ya mtu mali ataigonga. And this guy, because this young man is screaming and moving, anawachilia mawe inagonga a different part of the body. He is so disappointed that he's missed the head. Anaenda anachukua tena mawe. You know, I was just looking at this guy, and this guy is going to go to a home. Probably he's married and he has children. The anger in this guy, walalala, ungemwekelea mti ya kiberiti hivi ingewaka. Ambeba mawe, kept on doing that, injured the young man for sure, but the video ends without him having managed to strategically place the head at a place where he could slam this guy's head with that 9x9. So, that is what is happening. As in, it's taking something so little to trigger the worst in people. The worst in people. Barabara road rage. Woo-wee. People will call you all kind of names. You know, if people would have the power, like God, that if they speak to you, if they call you something, you become it. Hey. People would have turned to dogs, to cows, to cats, and to other wild animals, and to things that you cannot mention on TV. Again, because men are so angry within, and all this thing is coming from the homes, the frustrations. And so we need to pray for this country. We seriously need to pray for one another. Remember, ukipatana na mtu, I saw a video of this guy. He's a cab driver, and what happened is that I don't know whether somebody had crossed him, but he remained so calm. And the guy who had crossed him, you know, just disembarked from his vehicle and was uttering insults at him. And this guy was just looking at him. And then the passenger, the guy he had given, carried in this online cab, asked him, how do you manage to bear all these things? And the guy had a very good answer. He told him, you see, everybody who's walking around is carrying garbage, is carrying trash from where they've come from. It may be from home, where ni husband umechapwa hivyo na bibi unatembea, macho imefuru unasema ulianguka kwa stairs. Umepatana na mtu kwa streets, amekuguza tu kidogo. You unleash all that wrath, calling him all kind of things. So this guy was saying, everybody is carrying baggages and garbages, and they are looking for who they are going to throw it at. So, kila mtu kiona hapo hivyo nje, ni kamero. Anangoja tu kidogo umguze the wrong way, and then he can unleash that garbage on you. So be the bigger one. Mtu akikuita ng'ombe, as long as unajua wewe you've not become a cow, na utoangi maziwa, it shouldn't bother you. Nikikuita gazeti, wewe ni gazeti. Why would you be angry with me? Hautageuka gazeti? That's my 20 cents worth of wisdom today. Actually, it's 100 shillings worth of wisdom. So watch out for the people you're going to interact today. Don't pour garbage on people. Love people. You don't know what they are going through. You really don't. So God bless you. Remember at 9, we have Your Faith Today.